Okay, so you have just bought your first Audi C7 with a supercharged 6-cylinder in it, maybe even got an S6 or an S7, and it's completely stock. Maybe it has some mods, who knows? But you're asking yourself, what should be the first performance modification I put on this car? Because I'm ready to start modifying it. Well, if that's something you've ever asked yourself, you've come to the right video. Stick around, I'm gonna tell you my top 4 performance modifications that I think you should do in order from first to last on these cars. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. As always, I'm Cameron. This is Audi C7 owners, and as I just kind of hinted at, tonight's video we're going to be talking about the top 4 performance mods that I think that you should do from first to last on these cars. This is from my experience, having been working on these cars for many years and been involved in the community and seen all sorts of issues coming from modifications when people don't do them in the right order or they get something wrong. But before we get into that, this week has been kind of crazy, and I want to give you guys a heads up that there may be a lapse of videos in the next coming couple of weeks. The reason for that is because yesterday I just had a bad day with the car. First, had a nail in a tire, and so I ended up having to remove my front passenger tire and install the donut. I had to order tires, gonna get them installed here in a few days, but rolling around on the donut all day yesterday and until I get my tires replaced. And then yesterday, was leaving my neighborhood to take my son to go get dinner, and we got rear-ended at a stop sign. And so now my car's gonna have to go to the body shop to get the bumper cover replaced, and hopefully that's it. Hopefully there's nothing crazy that's not seen underneath the damage, but it's enough that the car's gonna have to go to the body shop for a while. So I don't know how long that'll take. I'm hoping to get the car back quickly so I can keep bringing you guys content, because I got a lot of stuff I wanna share with you guys. But in any case, let's get into the video. Drinking my Atomic Pumpkin, because it's never too early for pumpkin beer. You haters can hate all you want. I'm getting my basic white girl on. But the number one, first and foremost performance mod that every single person should do on their 3-liter supercharged engine, V8 S4, SQ5, C7A6, A7, is a heat exchanger. I will fall on the sword for this. A lot of people are gonna say, no, I should tune my car. No, I want my intake so I can hear my supercharger. Those are all fine, those are great. But if you want to protect the health of this engine and you want to set yourself up to have proper performance going forward with your mods, a heat exchanger should be your number 1 priority. I only recommend Merc Racing. He has been a huge supporter and developer, not only of this channel, but the 3OT community in general. And he's constantly developing things for that. He's working on us right now with our PCV relocation project. But his heat exchangers are phenomenal. He is a small business and he works his butt off. There's 2 different versions you can buy. There's a 3-liter version for your 3-liter supercharged engine, specifically made for that. Then there's a bigger version for the 4-liter twin turbo engines in the S6 and S7 cars, but you can actually use that on your 3.0T supercharged engines. And for me, that's what I have on my car. The bigger the heat exchanger, the better, because it's gonna be slower to rise on your IATs, it's gonna be faster recovery, and it's gonna be lower IATs overall. And if you're unfamiliar with why this is important, your IATs are one of the biggest indications of overall health of your engine when it comes to monitoring the performance of your car. If your IATs get over 175 degrees Fahrenheit or 80 degrees Celsius, then your car is going to cut timing and you're going to get almost a 40% reduction in power in the top end if you're doing a wide open throttle pull. The longer you run in higher temperatures like that, the worse it is for your intercooler cores and your supercharger. And the more you expose those to extreme heat cycles and cooling cycles, the more prone they are to breaking down and causing leaks of coolant into your intake manifold. And that's, obviously a big issue. If you don't know about certain coolant failures on these cars, you can check our video on the top 9 coolant failures. And hopefully I'll have a link to that either in the cards up here on the video, or I'll probably put a link in the description. But number 1, first and foremost, heat exchanger. They're not terribly expensive. You can DIY it at home in a day. Got multiple videos on that. So get a heat exchanger. Number 2 on the list, and this is something that flies under the radar for a lot of people, and they don't really put these on until they're well into their modifying path. But I think the number 2 modification, performance-wise, that you should do is get a Driveshaft Carrier upgrade from JXB Performance. If you don't know what this is, your drive shaft, going from your transmission back to your rear axles, supplying power to your rear wheels, has one center drive shaft carrier with a bushing on it that supports it. The OEM one, just like your OEM engine mounts and your OEM control arm bushings and everything, is a very soft mount, and it's designed more for comfort than it is performance. So it's designed to absorb vibrations that you don't feel in the car, because these are luxury cars. But what happens is, as you start to build up power on these cars, especially in your S6s, S7s, RS7s, RS6s, when you're throwing down a lot of power on these cars, you will wear that bushing out a lot. And on your 3.0T cars, it takes away your overall response and driving experience, but on your S6s and S7s, it will break your drive shaft. And honestly, with the 3.0T cars, if you really get into heavy modifications and you are tracking the car, or you're doing, quarter-mile races at the drag strip often, you can break your Driveshaft Carrier, and then you're in a whole world of hurt. So some happy byproducts of a JXB Performance Driveshaft Carrier upgrade. First thing I noticed immediately was the overall smoothness of my shifts. My shifts felt faster. It was almost like I got a TCU tune. They were just crisp, they were fast, didn't have any huge bumps, and there's a notorious hard jerk between first and second gear. The Driveshaft Carrier smoothed that out almost to where I thought it was gone. It was a huge difference for me. The overall driving experience was better. The shifts made it a lot smoother, and ultimately the power was getting put down to the wheels a lot better. Now my car also has drivetrain mount inserts for the transmission, as well as my rear differential. I've got 034 control arms and engine mounts, so my whole drivetrain is stiffened up to where there's not a lot of movement there, and that aids in that. But the Driveshaft Carrier was the biggest change that I noticed. So it's protecting your drive shaft, it's creating a better driving experience, it's cleaning up your shift feel, making them crisper, almost faster is what it feels like. So that would be my number 2 suggestion in terms of performance mods. Number 3, and this is a big one. If your car is stock and you don't have a tune or anything, number 3 should be test pipes to get rid of your OEM catalytic converters. We have an entire video on the fatal flaw of the 3.0T, which is all about your catalytic converters, why they fail, why it's a really big hazard, and why you should be working at getting rid of them as soon as possible. Just a very condensed version is basically, it's not a matter of if your catalytic converters will fail, it's a matter of when. And they will fail sooner than later as you modify the engine and you increase power output. And it will melt the internal components of the catalytic converters, and it will restrict flow of your exhaust coming out of the engine, and it can create fatal back pressure on the engine, causing the engine to grenade, and then you'll have to swap engines. So I would even suggest, once you buy the car, create a savings account, and every paycheck put a few bucks in it to go towards buying your test pipes as well as labor, because it's not easy to remove those, and you can expect to spend probably about $600 for a shop to swipe out your catalytic converters with test pipes. Can Auto Performance makes the best test pipes in the game. We do a lot of group buys with them. Right now, it's the early September 2022, and we're going to be doing a group buy at the end of the month, so look out for that. But they have some of the best price test pipes, and they haven't had a single failure to date on their test pipes, so I would send you to them to buy test pipes. You can also gut your OEM catalytic converters, but you got to find a shop to remove them and do that for you, and the EPA does not like that, so just keep that in mind. Number 4 on the list, and the last one on the list in terms of your first 4 mods. Finally, once you've got your heat exchanger, once you've got your Driveshaft Carrier upgrade, once you've got your test pipes in, go ahead and tune your car. That is going to make you the happiest out of all of these mods. It's going to be the biggest bang for your buck. Get out of here, fly. And it's just going to completely change the overall driving experience of this vehicle. Get your car tuned. It is absolutely worth it. Whether you want to just go with a stage 1 tune, which is just ECU upgrade, or you want to go ahead and get some hardware and go to a stage 2 single pulley or stage 2 dual pulley, that's up to you and what you really want to do. I'll have another video talking about different stages of tunes and what I think you should do. But for now, it's up to you. Browse the forums to see what you think you want to do. The 2 companies I would steer you towards are IE, Integrated Engineering, or 034 Motorsports. They're both phenomenal companies. They both have great customer support. They both have great products. Can't go wrong with either of them. You can flash at home for both of them. Even the Crec engines, now you can flash from home, not only with Integrated Engineering, but also with 034 Motorsports. And by the way, I'm not sponsored by either of these 2 companies, but you can't go wrong with those 2. APR, if I'm not mistaken, stopped supporting anything past a stage 1 tune, so I'm not going to send you to them. EPL doesn't exist anymore, and you just, when it comes to Unitronic and some other companies, They just don't really hold a candle towards integrated engineering and 034 Motorsports when it comes to the 3.0T supercharged engine. For your S6s, S7s, those guys, you know, the gold standard is DS1. That's what I would do if I had one of those engines. And then after that, integrated engineering makes a great tune as well. But the number one tune for your 4-liter twin turbo engines is going to be DS1 Dyno Spectrum. So that is the last on my list in terms of your performance mods. After that, everything under the sun. You know, intake so you can hear your supercharger, exhaust so you can manage the rasp you've created from swapping out your OEM catalytic converters with test pipes, your suspension modifications, lowering it, all that. You can do it whatever order you want to after these first 4 mods. So I hope you guys enjoyed this list. You can tell me how much you disagree with me in the comments or how much you maybe agree with me. If you have any questions on any of these products, where you can get them and what it takes to install, whether you want to try and do it yourself or not, please let me know in the comments and I'll discuss it with you. I would say that every single one of these you can do yourself, except for maybe the test pipes. That's kind of a bear. Hoping to have a video in the future showing an easier way to install test pipes by removing the false firewall behind the engine. I think that's going to be a game changer for people, but that's to come in another video. As always, please like and subscribe. Hopefully I'll be back soon with videos once I get my car fixed. I got some really fun and exciting stuff to show you guys. And yeah, catch you on the next video.